I've never been a huge fan of New Year's resolutions, and that's because they always seem to fail. So today I'm gonna share with you some reasons why that is and tell you what you should probably be doing instead. As you know, it's your boy Lukaya, and welcome back to the coolest corner on YouTube. If you're new here, you could, hit the subscribe button, maybe, if you want to. And also you can check the description box for any relevant information or anything else I mentioned in this video that might be helpful to you. So let's get into it. 80% of people abandon their New Year's resolutions by February 1st. Now, I do want to warn you, this is not like a, do this one thing and fix your whole life type of video, and these aren't any ancient secrets from the great beyond or anything like that. These are just some simple tips that I think could help you to achieve the vision that you have for yourself. So we're going to discuss the top 4 reasons why New Year's resolutions fail, and then I'm going to tell you what you should be doing instead of setting resolutions. I'm not even really a fan of that word, to be honest, but So reason number 1 why many people's New Year's resolutions fail is because of imposter syndrome. Imposter syndrome is the thought that you're not good enough, experienced enough, or talented enough to complete something that you see other people doing all the time. And let me tell you something, these people are not that smart, they're not that experienced, and they're not that far ahead of you. They just know somebody, got an opportunity, or had some really good luck. Reason number 2 why New Year's resolutions fail is because we attach them to the Yuletide season. We have lots of great memories and fun, and we're really high coming off of the Christmas season, and that everyone gets really excited for the new year. We pump it up and we attach these expectations to that day. But the only thing that changes on New Year's is the date. And because of that, we don't put any timeline on our resolutions or anything like that. New Year's Day is only one day. And also because of this, if we start off really good with our New Year's resolutions and we get to January 15th and then we have a bad day, well, our resolution's over. Now we gotta wait until next year, because that's when the next New Year is. But we gotta get away from doing that. Reason number 3 why New Year's resolutions fail is because we always frame them negatively. Well, not always, but most of the time. It's kind of like that thing when I tell you not to think of a pink elephant, all you can think of is a pink elephant. It's the same with our resolutions. If we frame them negatively, for example, I'm going to stop eating junk food. I'm gonna stop spending money. All you can think about is junk food, and all you can think about is spending money. When instead we should probably be saying something like, I'm gonna save more money, or I'm gonna eat healthier foods. Are you with me? Like, you see what's going on here, right? When we frame our resolutions positively, then we'll think about that positive thing, saving more money, or eating healthier foods. Which brings me to the 4th reason why New Year's resolutions always fail, 80% of the time. It's because they are too vague. They're never specific. I want to build a house. I want to buy a car. I want to lose weight. I want to save more money. I want to be kind. Vague statements set you up for failure because they don't really allow you to mark your progress. And if you don't have a track record to look back on, it's really easy to get demotivated. And is demotivated a word? It's really easy to get demotivated and give up on those resolutions that you've made. You always want to use more definitive language. And this is where I'm going to talk about what we should be doing instead of setting New Year's resolutions. Instead of making New Year's resolutions, we should just be setting goals. Make sure you stick around to the end of the video where I show you some of the tools I use to set my goals. But before we get to that, we should be setting smarter goals. Now, when I say smarter goals, no, I am not talking about goals that make you more intelligent. I'm talking about goals that are specific, measurable, action-oriented, realistic, and time-bound. And I also added the ER because the E is for evaluable, which is different from measurable, and I'll explain a little bit later. And then R, I don't know that everyone likes to do this, but it's never a bad idea to give yourself a reward when you complete a goal. It's not the reason for the goal, but it is nice to give you some motivation. Now, there are tons of videos on YouTube explaining what smarter goals are and going through every letter, and that's not what I'm here to do. I'm just gonna tell you how some of these letters apply specifically to combat the pitfalls of New Year's resolutions. Well, these are going to be a little bit out of order in terms of the acronym, but I'm going to combat each pitfall of a New Year's resolution with a letter or two from the smarter goal system. First being imposter syndrome. When we plan out our goals and write down actionable steps, that helps us to realize that some of these things are not as far-fetched as we believe. It's not as hard to save X amount of money as you think it is. It just takes the discipline, but you can't see it unless it's on paper. My dad always tells me, don't think it, ink it. Like, since I was a kid. And I write down everything now. I'm still, it's just a thing. The second part of the smarter goal system that combats the pitfalls of a New Year's resolution is that they're evaluable. Remember when I said measurable and evaluated are different things? Measurable means that you can physically or almost literally measure something. For example, I want to save $20. 20 is a definite measurement. But evaluated means that I can evaluate this goal every few weeks, every few months, whatever timeline you set, and decide if this is really something that I still want to do. And if you fall off the horse, you can use that time to get back on. It's not bound to that New Year's, psychological whatever is going on in our brains that causes us to give up once we fail our resolution, for a week or two. When we evaluate, we can reassess and get back on it. Thirdly, framing our goals positively. When we make our goals measurable, that 9 times out of 10 is going to frame it in a more positive light. For example, it's very hard to measure how much money you don't want to spend, but it's very easy to measure how much money you do want to save. So you're not going to write, I don't want to spend $7 next week. You're going to write, I want to save $7 next week. See where I'm going with this? So making our goals measurable helps us to frame them in a more positive way. And last but not least, the last pitfall of New Year's resolutions that we want to combat is being vague. And the first letter of smarter goals is being specific. You want a specific thing that you want to achieve. We don't want to leave something that's very open-ended as one of our goals. If it is open-ended, it's not a bad thing to write down, but you want to really break that down into exactly what you want to do. So instead of, I want to buy a house in 2022, maybe you change that to, I want to save up $20,000. That's a bad number, but whatever. For a down payment on a house. That way, even if you don't save up $20,000, you still have $15,000 in December. So that way you can start measuring the gain that you've achieved from where you started to where you are, instead of the gap between where you are and where you want it to be. Okay? And that helps us to, even if you miss the mark, you still achieve your goal at some point. Because I know if I save $15,000 by December, I'm not gonna blow it on something when I'm $5,000 away from buying a new house. Okay, that's all I'm saying. So I did promise you guys that I'd share a few tools that I use to help set my goals and, for my planning and whatever. So the first one is my iPad. Now, I know everybody doesn't have an iPad. This is just what I use to write. So all you need is something to write down, whether it's a stack of computer paper for now, a notebook that you bought, an iPad, a laptop, something where you can physically write everything down. Like I said, don't think it, ink it. Secondly, pencil, Apple Pencil. This is what I use. You get the point, right? But what I specifically have found better for me, and some of you might be like me, I have had many notebooks and planners in my life and I never use them. I use them for a month and then I use them for a week and then I just stop using it. But what's really been better for me is a digital planner. I use a digital planner in Notability, which is another thing that I use to set goals, planning, that kind of thing. And it really helps to keep me on track because I'm always using my iPad anyway. It's really easy. I take it everywhere with me. Instead of having this for, life and then having a notebook as well with me, I can just carry this and I'm good to go. Now I'm going to mention 2 things that are super important that help me to achieve my goals, but are also not physical items that you carry around with. The first is a routine. For me, a routine helps to keep me on track doing the things I'm supposed to do all the time. When I don't have a routine, I usually either do things out of order or miss many deadlines and things like that. So I just keep a nice routine. Every morning I do the same thing when I wake up. I do the same things before I go to bed every day. I write in my planner at the same time every day. Well, not the same time specifically, but in the same order. So I don't write every day at 9 p.m., but it's always the second to last thing I do before I go to bed, if that makes sense. Routine for me has been very helpful, especially because I'm very easily distracted. And I forget small things. I don't forget big things, but I forget small things. And small things, the devil's in the details, guys. A routine helps me to keep me on track and keep me from getting distracted because, boy, I tell you, I will literally 1 second be writing a song and then in 8 minutes I'm gone down a rabbit hole and ended up on a Google search page looking at the most common cause of death for killer whales. Literally happened to me 2 days ago. And the second one is honesty, specifically honesty with yourself, because unless you are 12 to 17, 18, nobody is gonna be behind you to get the stuff done that you need to get done, especially if you're out of college like I am. You're setting your own deadlines. You're making things happen that you want to happen. And the only person you're answering to for a lot of things, not all things, but for some things, is yourself. So you have to be really honest with yourself. The to-do list you made today, did you put too much on it? Do you have too many high energy versus low energy tasks on the list? Do you need to move something to next week? Which is most important on your to-do list? What can you take off? What can you take on? Are you putting too little on your to-do list? I don't know, I'm just saying. could be helpful. So a routine and honesty. And those are like the, tools that I use to keep my goals going. And, I can go in depth in another video at some point if you guys want. I can show you how I do it, blah, blah, blah. But for this video, that is all. Otherwise, we'll be here for 35 minutes. Well, guys, if you like this video, don't be shy. Hit the subscribe button. If you're brave, hit the like button or leave a comment or not. But if any of this sounds like something that you would want to do, something that's going to help you get started, go ahead and leave a former resolution that you had and what you changed it to as a smarter goal. Now, you can keep the personal stuff to yourself. You don't got to put how much you're trying to save in 2022 now. But, there are some things we can share. So let's put our old resolutions and our new goals in the comments down below so we can help give some others some ideas. Maybe we can help each other with making some of our goals smarter. Until next time, as always, peace, love, and Goombay. Oh, that was lame. That was lame. Should put that in a song. For, some relevant. Why New Year's resolutions fail is because... So reason number one why New Year's resolutions fail. Oftentimes when... It's really easy to get demotivated. It's really easy to get demotivated and not, it's really easy to get demotivated. And what I mean by that, remember when I said measurable is different from evaluable? When your goals are specific, SMAMAR. And the first letter of SMARTER goals is